Hey everybody. Hey. Okay, I know it's been a long time. Um Okay, hey girls. So, update. My computer died. I got a different I got an iPad. I tried to refilm this video. This is like the sixth iteration of this video, and this was supposed to come out like 6 months ago. But here we are. You know what? I feel triumphant because I won. This laptop got back up, and I was mid editing this video when it died. It crashed. It died. So here we are. I'm so happy this is finally coming out because this is something I've been wanting to put out and I've been trying to redo, but it just never hit the same. And I was like, I already did it. I already, whatever. But I've already explained some of the stuff that I talked about, so I chopped it up a little bit. But yeah, I might be adding some other stuff later. But I just wanted to tell you that this was supposed to come out forever ago. And now I'm sitting at home. It's a Sunday night. I don't care. But anyways, I'm going to try to get this done as fast as possible. Yeah, enjoy my thoughts. But I've also been doing a lot of research and a lot of fashion research and a lot of fashion thinking. Also, I apologize for the background buzz noise. I think it's my fridge. Say hi to her. Anyways, yeah. I don't feel like I need to fully explain myself. Also, there's not enough people to actually explain myself to. So I won't be doing that, or I won't be doing that further. But anyways, yeah. So I've been wanting to do this for a while. I probably filmed nearly the same video about 2 months ago and just keep forgetting about it, whatever. I also finally got a chair, so I'm sitting in this comfy chair for this video. But for this video, I wanted to talk about / relate accessible aesthetics and accessible lifestyles, and how those can relate to each other. And not accessible. Oh yeah, sorry for the noise. Not accessible in a way of anyone can access this, but or do these things, but in a way that is more realistic to an everyday life. First of all, I wanted to talk about the clean girl aesthetic and how I think its rise and popularity really came about, and why I think it's been a successful trend. So basically, I think that the clean girl aesthetic that really leans in on health and wellness and looking, good. I mean, I don't think that the aesthetic necessarily exists in a vacuum of an aesthetic. I think that really it is kind of a lifestyle choice. Because a lot of the clean girl aesthetic people, although it is kind of a makeup, hair, clothing trend, it also comes with your green smoothies and going to Pilates at 5 a.m. and waking up early, living this healthy lifestyle, eating well, that kind of stuff. And the clean girl aesthetic really focuses on that because it's this full aesthetic. It's about a lot of things. It's you have to have the right products, the right blah 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 blah. So I think the reason why the clean girl aesthetic and kind of the clothing choices that come with the clean girl aesthetic. So I'm thinking Aritzia, Aloe, the Aloe Yoga stuff, Lululemon, I would say, and then to an extent, I think this also reaches into more normal dressing because that's more athleisure, I would say. And I think athleisure, obviously, we've seen has had a huge rise. And I guess we'll get back to that too. But I think athleisure is something that although you are not necessarily being active, it's still something that people wear all the time, no matter how active, how inactive they are, how much they are actually being athletic or how much they are leisuring. It doesn't matter because it looks like you're doing either or. And I think that's also why athleisure has become really prevalent because I mean, I see people all the time, and like the majority of what they're wearing is technically athletic clothing or athleisure clothing. Um, and it doesn't matter. That used to be very taboo. Like, I remember in middle school, girls wearing leggings out was like, that's inappropriate. That's not okay. Where now it's like everyone wears leggings all the time and they're basically seen just as regular pants. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I really don't. I don't care ultimately. But I think that that's really led to this culture of, doing things aesthetically and wearing the kind of clothes that fit with a certain lifestyle. And I think it has to do with aspiration. I think it has to do with being kind of like the fake it till you make it mindset of, I wear these clothes because I want to be the certain type of thing. Obviously, some of it has to do with just straight up comfort. Um, but I do think that some of it comes with aspiration, where I think the clean girl aesthetic kind of, and the clean girl like lifestyle aesthetic, whatever, really leans into the aspirational part. But I think the reason why it's aspirational and why it's been successfully aspirational is because it does seem attainable. Because a lot of the like clean girl rules, lifestyle moments are things that anybody can do realistically. And obviously there's barriers to that. And when I say accessible, I do not mean that anybody can do it based on, disabilities or, I mean, I think that's kind of a main barrier is disabilities, with the clean girl aesthetic, but also just it has to do with like beauty politics, and the clean girl aesthetic very much relies on just being pretty, and having really good skin and really good hair, and like it's not necessarily stuff that is accessible to everyone, but I think that the ease and the almost natural look to it kind of helps feel more accessible to the average person and attainable. Um, yeah. So I guess it just like relies way more on that, because it's like, okay, anybody can get up and have a smoothie. Anybody can wake up at 5 a.m. almost. Obviously, permitting like jobs, etc. Like some people obviously can't like wake up at 5, but it's a reasonable thing that a lot of people can do, and it's more about like building up habits that you can do. But I think why the aesthetic has become so popular, and because the trend of this aesthetic has become something that has been like, I would say, a really successful trend. And I however you feel about trends, whatever, I don't support trends, but I also think that trends can be very neutral, especially with something like this, where it's like, this isn't really that much of a trend. I mean, it is a trend, but it's not something that's gonna like go away because it's just like athleisure, like certain things. It's like saying like, oh, Zara's a trend. It's like Zara has never been not been a trend, like, or wearing leggings is now a trend, where that's been popular. It's maybe changes in what it is a little bit, but for the most part, it doesn't ever change. Um, I'm getting a little off track, and I'm sorry because I'm just throwing thoughts out, but I want to have these videos be a lot more just conversational. And yeah, so let me regroup real quick, and then I'll be there in a second. Okay, sorry for the interruption. Somebody called me, and then I had to go to the bathroom, and it's been an hour since I first started. Anyways, yeah, so aspiration and attainability, I think, go hand in hand. But also, I think we've kind of come out of a place, and I think this has been something that's been like long time coming, and been like a long run trend in the theme in fashion and in society. I think it's come in many different ways. There's been the like, oh gosh, what's it called? It's the marketing, the like, anyways, there's like a marketing there was a marketing trend. It was kind of a like millennial marketing trend of it being like realistic. Sorry. I mean, they're bopping out there. This is why I love New York. I'm sorry. I love New York because I love hearing other people's music. It's really fun and I live on a busier street. But I'm sorry for the video. Anyways, oh my god, I'm really gonna be stuck on this marketing thing. Let me look it up real quick. My mind is so powerful because I tried to look it up and I didn't find it, but my mind remembered it. It's authentic marketing. So the authentic marketing trend, I think that was kind of where it became like a mass, like, this is more relatable. This is more realistic. This is more aspirational and attainable for everyday life because these high, glossy, like crazy good marketing tactics are like not attainable. They're only attainable to the uber wealthy, and even then, some of these things are just not attainable. Like, I really think of like the 80s opulence in fashion versus like the 90s more minimalist, and then I think that is kind of also like paired with the H drug chic. I don't know if I can say that, but heroin chic, where it was more like realistic images, you know, a lot less highly stylized, crazy things. And I think that that is really kind of where we're at today. But we see it in a very different, we've seen it in a very different way, where it's like people creating that for themselves, but also creating this highly stylized vision of realism. I don't know. Where, I guess, is that surrealism? I don't know. Y'all look it up and tell me in the comments. But I feel like the culture we have of like the clean girl aesthetic and this kind of very healthy girl, basically almond girl aesthetic has been labeled as attainable, and it's been shown as like attainable and authentic because it realistically is attainable. But I think the reason why the aesthetic has been taken by so many people outside of the people who actually, you know, do those things is because it still feels attainable. These are very easy clothes that you can get anywhere. Like, you can get a lot of this stuff at Target or, you know, a Marshall's, at TJ Maxx. You don't have to shop at Aloe. You don't have to shop at Aritzia to get the same kind of clothing, the same kind of aesthetic from literally anywhere. You can look the same. You can slick back your hair because it's minimal makeup. You can just wear minimal makeup. And that's, I think, another part where it's like that's where criticism has come into, or where the trend has kind of gotten criticism, is that it's not necessarily attainable in the same way because, you know, not everyone's going to have a perfectly slicked down hair, or not everyone's going to be able to just wear minimal makeup and look perfect and good because they don't have perfect skin and like all this stuff. And I get it. It's not realistic. And, you know, the lifestyle isn't necessarily realistic. Not everybody literally has the money to do those things. So I think it's just a trend that I actually don't think that the clean girl aesthetic and the clean girl lifestyle trend is bad. I think it's annoying to see. And I think especially because it's been really pioneered by skinny white women, young skinny white women who have plenty of money to do things and to just spend their days at the gym. You know, I think that's why it's kind of looked down upon. But I also want to relate this to other things in fashion. So I wanted to relate it to Miuccia Prada and Miu Miu and Prada in general. So I'm gonna lean back a little bit because, yeah. But it's not the clean girl aesthetic and Miuccia's world. I'm just gonna call it Miuccia's world. Let's go with that. I want that to be a theme park. I know that there's the like Prada Fondazione, but I want it to be called Miuccia's World. I'm sorry. Miuccia's World and like the clean girl aesthetic, but more they're connected through attainable aspiration. And I don't know if this is really something that's that important, but I think attainable aspiration is really where things become successful in trends. Because, not everyone can look like a Versace ad. Not everyone can wear that clothes. They cannot wear this high glam, high class, high color. They can't do this because it's just not realistic. Nobody's going to be this glam bot. Nobody's going to be this, like, crazy, gorgeous. Not everyone can be Bella and Gigi Hadid. Not everyone can be like Emrata. But it's funny because you can still see these people in Miuccia's world and it feels so much more normal. And that's also just models, like that's normal for models to be able to go between all the different things, all the different aesthetics, whatever, and that's what makes them successful. But that's not what we're talking about today. So I have thought a lot about how Miuccia's world and just the world of Miu Miu and Prada. She's really created and really come out of a mindset of practicality, functionality, and beauty. I think Miuccia's kind of idea of beauty is funny because it's not a static beauty. It's like whatever people think is beautiful, let's turn it on its head, and that's going to be beautiful. And I think that's really fun and interesting. And like obviously not everything that goes down a Miu Miu runway or a Prada runway, a lot of people don't like that. Like they like the accessories, they like the bags, they like certain parts, whatever. But for a lot of the stuff, like I hear a lot of people be like, "Oh, that's ugly" or "That's boring." Especially with Prada, people think it's more boring than ugly. But with Miu Miu, it can be like, "Oh, that's a little bit out there." Like I think of the Spring Summer 23 collection, and some of the stuff is like, a lot of people would just genuinely think that it's ugly stuff. But that's the point. But I think specifically in regards to the Fall Winter 23 collection, I think we really saw how the practical aspect of life and the regular person aspect of beauty, why that is so fun and why that is so interesting to people. And I'll show images, I'll put some images in, but this runway specifically had very regular stuff. It had people with tousled hair. I actually got these glasses because of the show, because I loved, they're like kind of round, small-ish, and I look a mess today, kind of, but you can't see it because of this nice brick wall that is like the same color as my hair, but it really shows how Miuccia is working for the working woman. And it's always how it's been, and I think Prada has also reflected the same sensibility, and I mean, the entirety of Prada has been that. And kind of the entirety of Miu Miu, but a little bit less so working woman. But when you see these like pencil skirts, knee-length skirts with, a kitten heel or even a tennis shoe or a brogue, and then like simple, easy layers, sweatshirts, big jackets, matching sets, whatever. You see like this person who is on their way somewhere, you can see anybody doing it. And it's like none of these clothes themselves are like that crazy. Like certain pieces, yes, there's the really, really thin like see-through cardigans and skirts and stuff like that. It's like you can't really get those anywhere. Trust me, I've looked, I've tried. It's so hard, except for the Zara dupes that you can barely find anymore. You can't really find these kind of things because it's like they're like the only ones doing this stuff. That might be an overgeneralization, but for the most part, they're kind of the only ones doing these specific things. Like who's putting sheer skirts that you like have to wear things under on the runway right now? Not really anybody. Not to say that it hasn't been done, but nobody else is really doing it right now. But it's really fun to see that it's stuff that's like traditionally more of a functional item, and it's something that like anybody could wear, anybody could find anywhere. But it's turned on its head a little bit to where it's still different, it's still aspirational, but it doesn't feel like you can't recreate any of these styles. So even like what I'm wearing today. I wanted to dress in a way that felt a little bit evoking of this aesthetic. So I am wearing a simple tank top. Ooh, it's a little bit see-through-ish, but that's because it's a tank top. And then just this regular cardigan. I also have just black shorts on, easy. Um, but it's like a lot of what you find on these runways is not the hardest thing to find. It is not that you cannot recreate these styles with in some other way. I have made shorts that look kind of like Prada shorts. I have made these shorts even like are kind of something that I was like lightly inspired. An outfit that is inspired by these things. These glasses are inspired by the Miu Miu glasses. You can wear whatever. Like you can put these things together and create these little pieces from Miuccia's world. You can create different aspects of like yourself. And I think the reason why it's so attainable is because it's really an invitation. And the more you look into Miuccia, which I'm probably going to end up doing a video about Miuccia in this way, but the more you look into Miuccia, the more you realize like she is very intellectual with what she does, and her thing is really her whole like shtick is questioning herself, making herself question herself, and making the consumer question themselves and what they want and what they like and how they want to exist in the world. And just questioning their own thoughts about literally anything. I think and I love that because I'm very much like question yourself, question what you think, what you believe, because those questions are good. Those questions make you actually think about how you exist in the world. And I love that Miuccia is that way because it's more of an invitation. Her shows, no matter what they are, feel more like an invitation to think more than simply buy. Obviously, Miuccia's world has been very successful. They've been doing really, really well. I can't remember the exact numbers, but it was either 22% up from the last year or 47% up the last year. But it was like a really good, positive percentage up in sales. And they've become one of the most popular brands in the last like couple years. I think really ever since the spring summer 22, where there was like the really cropped mini skirts and stuff like that. They've just been up and up and up. And actually, I would say before then, the collection before then, the fall winter 21 with the lookbook, like being in the mountains and stuff, whatever, that was great. Anyways, but that's why Prada is always on the forefront of trends, is because she creates something that is an invitation to think about yourself, think about what you want. And yes, there's some really amazing marketable, merchandisable products there that are easily sellable, that will sell. And I think that's just her like business side genius. And also there's obviously people who work under her, like it's not just her. But I think when it comes to the collections and stuff, she starts with an idea. She starts with a thought of like, what do I want to think about? Not how, and part of what that is how do I want women to feel? How do I want people to feel, and how do I want people to look? And I think that's why she's become such an aspirational designer, and I think that's why she's so many people's like muse, or not muse, but inspiration. And she's one of my biggest inspirations when it comes to fashion now that I've learned more about her. But I think she's become kind of this like almost separate entity because she does exist very differently than like a lot of fashion people. She's kind of anti-fashion. She's very much like, I didn't want to do this. She enjoys it. I mean, if you read anything about her, she enjoys it now. But I think she wants to create something that's like, this is just a normal person. It's a normal person with a luxury good on them. She's realistic. She creates stuff that is not so hard to find or recreate or do other things with. It's like you can buy one piece and like create the rest elsewhere. Because it's normal stuff. And I think that's why it's so aspirational for so many people. And I think that's why she's become so successful. And she's been successful for like over 30 years. Miu Miu itself is celebrating 30 years this year. I just got the W Mag with that editorial, and I'm so excited because I love it and I love Miu Miu. And then Prada has been around for like forever, but um, I think that's why she's been so successful and created such an iconic and sellable brand is because she creates things that are not only are they aspirational, but it feels realistic. She doesn't have them as these crazy, amazing, gorgeous things. And I think you can see it even in the campaign imagery. Like sometimes they're really highly stylized, but sometimes they're very realistic. Sometimes they look just like a normal picture. Sometimes they look a little bit crazy. The Kendall backup memes, like they're great. But anyways, yeah, I know there was a lot going on there and like pulling from different things, but I think that those two aren't necessarily related. Like the clean girl aesthetic is not necessarily related to Miu Miu and Prada Miuccia's World. They're not necessarily related, but I think they are instilling the same mindset, and I think they've both grown popularity because of the same mindset of accessible aspirations and approachable aspirations, something that is available to the normal person. It's not something that's going to make you doubt yourself. It's going to be like, I feel comfortable in this because it's this extension of me. Or it's something that's going to better me in the clean girl aesthetic thing. It's like, this is going to better me or make me look better. Where this is like, this is an extension of me because it fits my style or it fits my attitude about fashion. Um, So yeah, it's really, and I think even like in the fitness world and whatever, like fitness and that kind of culture is more of an invitation to find how you do it best for yourself. It's not like there's a one rule of how to do this. Everything has to be up to each person. And I think that's really how fashion is too, where some people just want to create a robot of their styles, their whatever. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed all my random thoughts, and I will be doing more Prada like deep divey stuff, and it will be a lot more organized. This one I just wanted to be kind of conversational because I've had these thoughts for a while about these two separate things, but how they're rooted in almost the same thing and why they've grown popularity through the same thing. But if you have any other examples of it or any other thoughts, um, reach out, comment, I don't know. Do what you want. Move along from this video if you would like. But yeah, I just want to be conversational. I'm really doing this with an expectation not to get millions of views, not to tell you what to think. I have an expectation, realistically, to connect. Like, to commune with you, but to connect with people and just like have some sort of community through the internet, because I feel like there's been a lot of that lost. So yeah, spread the love, live, laugh, love, and that's all. Thanks for watching. Okay, that's for real it. I want to thank you guys for your patience again. And I started a Patreon, so I will link that down below, as a way to kind of connect, because it's going to be kind of the same stuff, but a little less formal and less like long video form. But yeah, thanks for joining. There'll be another one, I promise.